Let's talk about bringing artificial intelligence into the classroom. And I know you're probably already thinking, great, one more thing to add to my very full plate. But the truth is, AI is not here to make your job more difficult. AI is here to assist and enhance the work that you've already been doing. Think of it as the assistant you perhaps wanted for your classroom, but the school never had the budget for. In this video, we're going to explore 5 practical tips that you can use to integrate AI into your classroom. You'll walk away with some actionable ideas and hopefully a little bit of excitement about what's possible. Let's get started. First tip, very simple, know thy tools. Can you imagine if you were trying to teach a class, let's say on ancient Egypt, but you didn't know what a pharaoh is? That would be a problem. Similarly, if you want to teach or regulate how AI is used in your own classroom, you have to be familiar with the tools and resources. Because your students are. Right now, they're using AI to create art, compose music, brainstorm, and yes, write essays. Likewise, a lot of instructors are also using AI to help them with administrative tasks, help them with grading, and even lesson planning. To become more familiar, you of course have to practice. And you want to practice using tools like ChatGPT, Canva, and other tools on OpenAI because they're really user-friendly. ChatGPT can be your lesson planning wizard, but it can also be your brainstorming partner. For example, on one of those late evenings that many of us have had where we've got a stack of papers to grade, you might say to ChatGPT, "Hey, how can I get done grading sooner?" And have fun with it. Let it be your real-time therapist. Once you're more familiar with these tools, you then want to move on to the magic of prompt engineering. A really well-crafted prompt, which is the command or the question that you pose to AI, can really make the difference between whether or not you get back an average response or a really brilliant one. Resources like Coursera, Khan Academy, and the tutorials on OpenAI are great for building your skill set. Start small, experiment, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. After all, that's really going to prepare you for the questions that your students are undoubtedly going to have as they continue to use AI. Once you feel more comfortable with your skills, it's time to move on to tip number 2, setting the expectations for your students. AI can be a really powerful ally. But without clear rules, it's sort of like letting a toddler loose in a candy store. You've got to be very clear about your expectations on AI use in your classroom. So walk your students through those expectations. If you have a syllabus, be sure to include your AI policy in it. Let them know when AI is encouraged, which might be something like brainstorming for an essay, and when it's absolutely not, which might be generating an entire assignment. Be specific about what counts as plagiarism in your classroom. Also, you need to inform them how they should go about disclosing their AI use. So, for example, you might say, if you use AI to generate ideas or draft parts of your assignment, include a note at the bottom indicating how you used it. This is really going to encourage their transparency, and they'll think a little bit more critically about their relationship with technology. Don't just sort of tell them, what's wrong. You really want to show them what's right. So give them some examples of ethical and unethical use of AI in your classroom. For instance, there might be an example of someone using AI to refine their thesis statement or draft an outline. And then there's another example where someone really just sort of copies a lot of AI-generated content and pastes it into an assignment. Finally, try to get them to buy into the learning goals and the reason that you've made the AI policy altogether. It'll really increase their adherence to it. Tip 3, personalize learning with AI. AI really shines when you allow it to tailor or personalize content for your students. A good way to do this is with the creation of a digital assistant, also known as a digital tutor. We talked earlier about prompt engineering and the importance of being able to put together a well-crafted prompt. Well, it's time to put that to work. What you want to do is create a generic prompt for a digital assistant. Give that to your students to plug into ChatGPT or Claude or a similar tool. After they've done that, walk them through a way to personalize it by including their first name, and any other characteristics of their learning style that they want to include. If you want more information about this and an example prompt, please click the first link in the comments section of this video. So, now that we've created this digital tutor, it's time to have some fun. Let's say you have a student that's struggling in science. They'd be able to pose the question to the digital tutor, "Hey, I'm really having a tough time understanding ecosystems. Can you please explain to me how they work and how I fit within it?" Or if you have a student that's struggling with math, let's say algebra, they might ask the question, "Hey, I want to better understand fractions. Can you explain it to me using pizza slices?" And there you have it, a more digestible way to understand math. Okay, I know that was a really bad pun. But the point is that these digital tutors, which are available 24/7, are a game changer for us teachers who often struggle with having enough one-on-one time with all of our students. Now, we can't leave everything to the digital tutor, so you do need to make sure that your students are cross-checking their answers and not relying on the digital tutors for everything. Make sure that they remember that learning is still about their effort and that AI is not, it's a helper, but not a substitute for their own learning. Tip 4, automating rote tasks. Let's be honest, there's a lot of tasks in teaching that make you feel like you're on an assembly line. But now that AI is here, we have to allow it to take over some of that repetitive stuff and free ourselves to do, well, stuff that truly matters. Take grading, for example. AI tools like EssayGrader, ChatGPT, and Gradescope can automatically grade multiple choice and short answer tasks and even reduce the amount of time it takes for grading essays. You're going to be able to get hours back, which you can actually spend creating engaging content with students, or dare I say it, maybe a little bit more work-life balance. Another way that we can use AI is by allowing it to sort and analyze classroom performance data. AI tools like Google Classroom can do the heavy lifting for you. You can identify students that need extra help, keep track of them, and tailor your approach accordingly. You can also automate and easily track the engagement of any of the personalized content you give to your students. Using these tools are going to make you feel more prepared, perhaps a little bit refreshed, and definitely enlightened on how to support and guide your students more. Tip 5, create new and engaging activities. Okay, it's time we let AI help us level up our lesson plans a bit. Think of AI as your creative sidekick. It's ready to turn some of those ordinary assignments that maybe you do all the time into some extraordinary experiences. Take, for instance, let's say a chemistry class. You could use AI to simulate a virtual lab where students experiment with chemical reactions, but in a safe and digital environment. And so suddenly they're having fun mixing acids and bases, but you don't have the risk of setting off the fire alarm. Another way would be, let's say, in a history class. You might have students interview a famous historical figure. Imagine a student talking with Martin Luther King about the challenges of the civil rights movement, or maybe Abraham Lincoln about his thoughts during the Gettysburg Address. AI is going to be able to generate a visual response and some interactive engagement, and it's going to make history and science come alive in a way that a textbook can simply not. The activities are not only engaging, but it's going to cause your students to think critically, solve problems, and really apply what they've learned. So, there you have it. 5 practical ways to bring AI into your classroom. You're going to start by becoming relatively proficient yourself. You want to set clear expectations for your students, personalize their learning, automate some of the mundane and rote tasks that we all have to do, and then finally inject a little bit of excitement into your lesson plans. So, I hope you enjoyed these tips. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.